All right, so we're diving into something that I think a lot of us can relate to, especially once we hit that 35 mark, weight loss. And I think we all know it kind of feels like a whole new ball game compared to our 20s. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. And forget those old tricks,
Yeah.
calorie counting and all that. We're going way beyond that today.
Exactly. We're going to be exploring what the latest research really says
Yeah.
about how to actually make progress at this stage of life.
Yeah.
What actually works. So, we've got a great source for this deep dive. It's called Proven Weight Loss Lifestyle Changes for Individuals Over 35. Really rolls right off the tongue, and we're going to
Excellent.
unpack it.
Yeah, and what's so interesting about this source is it doesn't treat weight loss as this like isolated thing.
Mm-hmm.
It really dives into, how our bodies change with age
Mm-hmm.
and how that impacts not just the number on the scale, but like our overall health,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay, so it's not just about squeezing back into those old jeans. It's about actually feeling good, too.
Yeah.
I like that. One of the first things that really caught my eye in this research was intermittent fasting. It's like super popular right now. But I'll be honest, I'm a little skeptical. Does it really work? Especially for those of us over 35.
Well, and that's what's really intriguing about this source. It presents intermittent fasting as more than just like a trendy diet. It actually highlights a 2023 study that showed intermittent fasting specifically helped those over 35 improve their insulin sensitivity.
Okay, hold on. Break that down for me. What exactly does insulin sensitivity even have to do with weight loss?
Okay, so think of insulin as like a key.
Mm-hmm.
That unlocks your cells to let glucose in. Glucose is sugar, and it's used for energy. So when you're insulin sensitive, your cells respond really efficiently to insulin. But as we age, our cells can become a bit resistant. And that basically means the glucose can build up in your bloodstream instead of being used for energy. And that can lead to weight gain and a bunch of other health issues.
Ah, okay, so improving insulin sensitivity could help my body actually use energy more efficiently.
Got it.
But how does intermittent fasting actually DO that?
So this source points to a few mechanisms. When you fast, your body kind of dips into its stored energy reserves.
Hmm.
And this can help like reset your metabolism.
Oh, interesting.
Plus, by giving your digestive system a break, you're reducing that constant demand for insulin. And that over time can actually improve your sensitivity.
So it's not just about restricting calories, it's about giving my body a chance to like recalibrate.
Yeah.
I like that. But I have to admit, the idea of fasting still sounds a bit intense. Any tips on how to maybe ease into it?
Yeah, the source really emphasizes starting slow. So
Mhm.
maybe try like a 12-hour fast to begin with. You could simply push dinner a bit earlier and then have breakfast a bit later. And of course, stay hydrated throughout the day.
Right, that sounds doable. So we're tackling metabolism and hormones. What else does this source kind of dive into?
This is where it gets really fascinating. This source spends a good chunk of time talking about gut health.
Gut health.
Yeah,
I mean, that seems kind of unrelated to weight loss.
right. But apparently the trillions of bacteria that are living in our gut have a huge impact on how we process food and even how our hormones function.
Wait, so you're telling me there's like a whole microscopic world inside of me that's affecting my weight?
Exactly. This source actually uses this analogy of a garden. You want a diverse ecosystem of beneficial bacteria flourishing in your gut. Kind of like a healthy garden filled with a variety of plants. And this garden helps with everything from digesting food and absorbing nutrients to regulating metabolism
Yep.
and even influencing our immune system.
Okay, so how do I become a good gut gardener then? What do I need to do to keep these little bacteria happy and working for me?
So this source talks a lot about prebiotics and probiotics. Think of prebiotics as the fertilizer for your gut garden. They're types of fiber that feed the beneficial bacteria.
Okay, so where do I get these prebiotics? Do I need to buy some fancy supplement?
Not at all.
Yeah.
You probably already have some prebiotic superstars in your kitchen. Foods like bananas, garlic onions, leeks asparagus, and whole grains are all excellent sources of prebiotics.
Got it. So feed the good bacteria with prebiotics. What about probiotics?
Probiotics are the actual beneficial bacteria themselves. This source recommends incorporating fermented foods into your diet to boost your probiotic intake. Things like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi. They're all packed with good bacteria that can help diversify your gut microbiome.
So it's like adding new plants to my gut garden. I love that analogy. This is making so much more sense now. It's not just about what I eat, it's about making sure I'm supporting a healthy gut environment too.
Exactly. That's a key takeaway from this source. You have to address both what you're eating and how your body is processing those foods. And speaking of tools, proven weight loss lifestyle changes for individuals over 35 also delves into the role of technology in weight management.
Ooh, this is something I've been curious about. Everyone's talking about fitness apps and smartwatches these days. Do they really make a difference, or are they just a distraction?
Well, this source acknowledges both the potential and the pitfalls of technology. Fitness trackers, for example, can provide valuable data on your activity levels, your sleep patterns, even heart rate variability, which can be an indicator of stress.
I can see how tracking those things could help you become more aware of your habits. But what about calorie counting apps? Are those helpful, or just another thing to obsess over?
Yeah, this source cautions against getting too fixated on numbers. However, it does highlight that calorie tracking apps like MyFitnessPal can be useful for building awareness of your food choices and portion sizes.
So it's more about using them as a tool for education and self-reflection,
Yeah,
rather than like a strict rule book.
exactly.
I like that approach.
The key is to find a balance and not let technology become the sole driver of your weight loss journey. This source really emphasizes that technology should complement, not replace, healthy habits.
Got it. Use technology wisely and don't forget those foundational lifestyle changes. Speaking of foundations, this source dives deep into the importance of sleep. I know I don't get enough, but how exactly does sleep impact weight loss?
So this source highlights how sleep deprivation can throw our hormones out of whack, specifically two key players, cortisol and leptin.
Okay, remind me what those hormones do again.
Okay, so cortisol is often called the stress hormone. And when you're sleep deprived, your body pumps out more of it. And this can increase your appetite and make you crave those sugary, fatty comfort foods.
Ah, so those late night snack attacks might be more about my hormones than my willpower.
Exactly. And then there's leptin. That's the hormone that signals to your brain that you're full. When you're sleep deprived, your leptin levels drop, meaning you might not feel as satisfied after meals and be more prone to overeating.
So getting enough sleep could actually help me manage those cravings and feel more satisfied after meals. That's a game changer.
Yeah.
But how much sleep are we talking about? I hear different things all the time.
This source, along with a growing body of research, recommends aiming for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night.
Quality sleep, that's the key, right? It's not just about hitting a number on your sleep tracker. What are some tips for actually improving the quality of my sleep?
This source recommends establishing a regular sleep schedule, even on weekends.
So consistency is key, even when it comes to sleep. What else?
Creating a relaxing bedtime routine can help signal to your body that it's time to wind down. Things like taking a warm bath, reading a book, or listening to calming music can be helpful.
Okay, so establish a regular sleep schedule and create a calming bedtime routine. Any other sleep-enhancing tips?
This source also emphasizes the importance of minimizing exposure to blue light from electronic devices in the hour or two before bed.
Oh, right, the blue light thing. I've heard about that. It messes with your melatonin production, right?
Exactly. Melatonin is the hormone that helps regulate your sleep-wake cycle, and blue light from screens can suppress its production.
So that means no more scrolling through social media before bed. I'll have to find a new pre-sleep activity. This is all great information. But I have to admit, it's a lot to process. Is there anything else this source covers?
There is. This source also delves into mindful eating, which can be a powerful tool for weight management. But I think we should unpack that in part 2 of this deep dive.
Agreed. Let's pause here for now, and we'll pick up with mindful eating and other fascinating insights from proven weight loss lifestyle changes for individuals over 35. In part 2.
Welcome back.
So in part 1, we talked a lot about how our bodies change after 35, the hormones, the metabolism, even that whole gut bacteria situation. But I'm curious, what does this source actually mean by mindful eating? It sounds kind of new agey to me.
Yeah, I get that. But this source actually presents mindful eating as a very practical approach.
Yeah.
It's about bringing awareness to your eating habits
Yeah.
and tuning into your body's signals. Think about it. How often do you eat lunch at your desk, scrolling through your phone, barely even tasting your food?
Oh, all the time. I am definitely guilty of that. But what does that have to do with weight loss?
Well, this source cites a 2022 study that found people who practice mindful eating techniques were less likely to overeat and more likely to make healthier food choices. It's not about restricting yourself. It's about becoming more aware of your hunger cues, your fullness cues, even your emotional triggers for eating.
So instead of just mindlessly snacking when I'm stressed, I should be paying attention to whether I'm actually hungry. That makes sense. But how do I actually DO that? It seems like a big shift.
Yeah, it definitely takes practice. But this source offers some really practical tips. For example, try putting away all distractions while you eat. No phones, no TV, just you and your food. Focus on the flavors, the textures, the aromas. Really savor each bite.
Okay, I like that. I can definitely see how that would help you slow down. and actually enjoy your meal instead of just inhaling it. What else?
Another tip is to check in with yourself throughout the meal. Ask yourself, am I still hungry? Or am I starting to feel full? Like I said, it takes practice.
That.
But over time, you can become more attuned to your body's signals.
So it's about retraining yourself to listen to those internal cues. I like that. Any other simple tricks to help with mindful eating?
The source mentions using smaller plates and bowls. This can help with portion control without you even realizing it.
Oh, that's a good visual cue. It makes sense. Smaller plate, smaller portion. All right, I'm feeling inspired to try some of these mindful eating techniques. What other interesting tidbits did you find in proven weight loss lifestyle changes for individuals over 35?
Well, this source dedicates a whole section to something called blue zones.
Blue zones, what are those?
So blue zones are regions around the world where people live exceptionally long and healthy lives. Researchers have been studying these areas to understand what contributes to their longevity. And it turns out their lifestyle habits have a lot to do with it.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of habits are we talking about?
Well, for starters, people in blue zones tend to eat a mostly plant-based diet. Lots of fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains.
That aligns with what we were talking about earlier with prebiotics and gut health, right?
Exactly. They also prioritize regular physical activity. But it's not about intense workouts or anything. It's more about incorporating movement into their daily routines. Like they walk a lot, garden, do housework. It's all about staying active naturally.
So it's not just about what they eat, it's about their overall lifestyle. That makes sense. What else did you learn about the blue zones?
They also have strong social connections and a sense of community. They prioritize time with family and friends. And many of them have a strong sense of purpose in their lives.
It sounds like they've found a recipe for not just a long life, but a fulfilling one too.
Right. And what's interesting is that this source connects these blue zone practices back to weight management. It suggests that incorporating these habits into your own life, even in small ways, can make a big difference in your overall health and well-being.
So it's not about trying to replicate their exact lifestyle, but rather finding ways to incorporate those principles into your own life.
Exactly. Maybe you start by adding more plant-based meals to your week, or finding ways to move your body more throughout the day. It's all about making those small, sustainable changes that add up over time.
I love that. Small steps, big impact. And it makes it feel less overwhelming too. Now, we touched on this briefly in part one, but this source also hints at the future of weight loss.
Yes. Personalized nutrition. This is where things get really exciting.
Okay, I remember you saying something about genetic testing. Can you break that down for me?
Yeah, so imagine having a diet and exercise plan that's specifically tailored to your unique DNA. That's the potential of personalized nutrition. Genetic testing can reveal how your body processes nutrients, what types of exercise you're best suited for, and even potential food sensitivities or intolerances.
So instead of following those generic weight loss plans, you could have a roadmap that's customized to your individual needs. That's incredible. But honestly, it sounds a little futuristic. Is this technology really available now?
It's still in its early stages, but it's rapidly evolving. Several companies offer genetic testing kits that can provide insights into your health and wellness predispositions.
So it's not just science fiction anymore, it's becoming a reality. But I have to imagine those tests are pretty expensive, right?
That's one of the current limitations. Genetic testing can be costly and isn't always covered by insurance. However, as the technology advances and becomes more widely available, we can expect the costs to come down.
So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. It's fascinating to think about the possibilities. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've talked about how our bodies change after 35, the importance of gut health, the power of mindful eating, the wisdom of the blue zones, and even the potential of personalized nutrition. It's amazing how much research is out there and how much we're still learning about weight loss and overall health.
It's truly an exciting time to be exploring these concepts. I think what's most encouraging is that this source emphasizes the importance of individualization and finding what works best for you. It's not about following strict rules or punishing yourself. It's about making informed choices that support your overall well-being.
I love that message. It takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
And makes it feel more like a journey of self-discovery. But before we get too philosophical, let's wrap up this part of the deep dive and move on to part 3, where we'll summarize the key takeaways and leave our listener with some actionable steps they can implement in their own lives. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into proven weight loss lifestyle changes for individuals over 35. It's been a fascinating journey exploring these concepts, and I have to say this source has really given me a whole new perspective on how to approach weight loss, especially, in this stage of life.
I agree. It's not about those quick fixes or fad diets anymore. It's about really understanding how our bodies work, and, making sustainable changes that support our overall health and well-being.
Exactly. So let's do a quick recap for our listeners. What were some of the key takeaways that really stood out to you?
Well, you think the biggest takeaway for me is that weight loss after 35 is not one size fits all. Our bodies change as we age. And what worked for us in our 20s might not be as effective now.
Right. It's like we're playing a whole new game with new rules.
Exactly. And this source gives us like a framework for creating a new playbook.
Yeah.
It emphasizes the importance of addressing those age-related changes, like the hormonal shifts, the metabolic slowdown, and adopting a holistic approach that considers not just what we eat, but also how we sleep, how we manage stress, even the health of our gut microbiome.
Speaking of the gut microbiome, that was a real aha moment for me. I never realized how much those little bacteria actually impact our overall health and weight management.
It is fascinating, isn't it? This source really highlights the importance of nurturing those beneficial bacteria through a diet rich in prebiotics and probiotics.
And it's good to know that those prebiotics and probiotics are found in everyday foods, not just expensive supplements. Another takeaway that really resonated with me was the emphasis on sleep. I'll admit I'm definitely guilty of not getting enough, but this source really made me realize how crucial those 7 to 8 hours are for hormonal balance and, just overall well-being.
Sleep is definitely foundational. And this source highlights how sleep deprivation can throw our hormones out of whack, leading to increased appetite, sugar cravings, even difficulty feeling full after meals.
So prioritizing sleep isn't just about feeling rested. It's about setting ourselves up for success with weight management and overall health.
Exactly. And it's not just about quantity, but quality as well. This source recommends establishing a regular sleep schedule, creating a relaxing bedtime routine, and minimizing exposure to blue light from electronic devices before bed.
All great tips. I'm definitely going to be working on my sleep hygiene. I also found the concept of mindful eating really intriguing. It's not about restricting yourself. It's about becoming more aware of your eating habits and your body's signals.
Right. Mindful eating is about slowing down, savoring each bite, paying attention to those hunger and fullness cues, and, really tuning into the entire eating experience.
It's about making mealtime a ritual, not a race.
I like that.
And this source gives us some really practical tips for incorporating mindful eating into our lives. Things like putting away distractions while we eat, checking in with ourselves throughout the meal. Even using smaller plates can make a big difference.
Simple but powerful.
I also loved learning about the blue zones. It's really inspiring to see how people in these regions live such long and healthy lives.
Their lifestyle habits are truly remarkable. They prioritize plant-based diets, regular physical activity, strong social connections, and a sense of purpose.
It's a good reminder that healthy aging isn't just about individual choices, but also about the environment and the connections we cultivate. And finally, we got a glimpse into the future of weight loss with personalized nutrition. It's exciting to think about the potential of tailoring our diet and exercise plans to our unique DNA.
Definitely. It's still early days, but as this technology evolves, it has the potential to really revolutionize how we approach weight management and overall health.
So much to look forward to. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, and I hope our listeners feel empowered to take some of these insights and apply them to their own lives.
I agree. Remember, this is a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself, celebrate those small victories, and keep exploring what works best for you.
Beautifully said. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into proven weight loss lifestyle changes for individuals over 35. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.